Thank you very much. I sat there thinking, when Ben was talking about energy, that we changed all our light bulbs to LED. 120,000 of them about 3, 4, 5 years ago. Man, that is looking like a good move at the moment with energy costs doubling virtually every day. It's not always as good as that, but that's just a really good example, and the saving to taxpayers is enormous. I'm sorry to say your tax still went up 3.99% this year, but that's another thing. Let me just see, yeah, that's lovely. So our commitment to decarbonising started years ago. In the 2000s, real push, and particularly driven by financial metrics. But we really committed, I believe, in 2019, when we said we will be, as an organisation, carbon neutral by 2030. And as we recover out of COVID, we are going to need not only excellent services, but we're going to need to focus on that sustainable growth, improve our natural and built environment, and help our residents to resilient, better health and well-being. Those are my priorities. They are now the priorities of the council. We have now just landed a corporate plan which embeds that, and I will be delighted when that flows through our organisation and hopefully influences others as well. We have to take everyone with us. Living our lives with less carbon is perhaps the biggest change that we have ever faced. I preferred Andrew's slide, which had it graphically rather better than this, but I'm sure you've seen the disturbing images of raging wildfires, melting ice caps, and the destruction caused by flooding. These global impacts are becoming more frequent and are a result of the rise in the Earth's temperature. In many instances, these impacts are in distant lands, observed through a 24-hour world news lens that somehow desensitises us to the constant barrage of crisis. Check out the Australian floods this week on the East Coast. The fact is that we're all suffering the impacts of climate change in our daily lives and right here in Hertfordshire, as was demonstrated by the extreme weather events in 2021, hailstorms and heat waves, coldest January for 10 years, high rainfall in May, heat warnings and summer storms, heavy flooding and exceptionally wet autumn. Sounded like a bog standard year to me, but I mean, those are extremes apparently. The East of England is one of the driest regions, and yet Hertfordshire has one of the highest levels of water consumption. 1.2 million people, more of that in a moment. Look at that temperature increase for the East of England, that very dark red area just above the Thames estuary. That represents a 6-degree warming in 6 decades. No wonder the DAFs come out in January. Herts and Middlesex Wildlife Trust state that over the last 50 years, 76 species have become extinct in Hertfordshire. You might hear a nightingale in Berkeley Square, but you won't in Boreham Wood, unless they beat Everton tonight. We are experiencing hotter and longer summers, leading to our rare chalk bournes and gutters drying up. But we're also part of the South East economic powerhouse. We keep the country afloat. We attract inward investment. It is a great place to raise families. You heard the conundrum raised by BIM. Long term, we can stabilise, then reduce this ever-increasing warming by reducing global greenhouse gas emissions. We can all be part of the solution and can, in our small way, make a big difference. This includes every single one of us. Big government, local government, business, commerce and industry of all size, and of course our residents. It's so hard. It's so difficult. Yes, but who thought we could vaccinate our way out of a pandemic or shut down Russia in a week? When we are minded, we can. In terms of the County Council, we declared a climate emergency in July 2019, as did many other councils across the country. And I think there's very, very few that don't have a 2030 commitment. We developed and launched the Sustainable Hertfordshire Strategy, which sets out 9 ambitions, and for the organisation to be a leader in the actions and to inspire others to take action across the county. When developing our strategy, we looked towards UN sustainable goals, and as a council, concentrate on the green and environmental targets, fully aware of other partnerships in the county. One such being the Hertfordshire Growth Board and the Health and Wellbeing Board, both of which I chair, and soon the Integrated Care Partnership, which will look at the wider determinants of health: housing, employment, the built and natural environment, education, connectivity, both physical and digital. 80% of our health and well-being sits outside the health services. The LEP will look towards jobs, skills and training, as well as resilience in business. In terms of carbon, the biggest challenge for the county relate to embodied carbon and emissions from the existing buildings, schools, offices, libraries, etc., and the highway and transport network. In terms of biodiversity, the biggest challenges are around protecting what we already have. Dealing with increased cases of ash dieback, that is going to be huge. And oak processionary moth, with reported cases rising from 30 to 678 in a year. And today, well, either today, tomorrow, or yesterday, was the last day you could actually import oak trees into the UK. Lead, enable, and inspire. Fundamentally, we have to get our own house in order, manage our buildings, including 300 schools, make the best use of our rural estate, and change the way we work. Those things are already underway. Big fundamental decisions flow from our commitments. We need to radically upshift our recycling rates, reduce waste, and plan now for new communities and retrofit our existing. Enabling change in all that we do has to flow right through our organisation. And whilst doing this, let's not forget that we have to take our 1.2 million residents with us. They may not be comfortable with change. Sustainability has to be understood. Clean and green development cannot be seen as a cost, but a positive. And Jonathan Porritt said that, so it must be true. We will only make it to 2030, having made the difference that matters if we take everyone with us. And like tree planting, it would have been better to start 20 years ago, but today is a good place to start. Perhaps this slide should be titled, What We Are Achieving. Successful applications to the Public Sector Decarbonisation Scheme, 23.5 million funding to support 200 schemes. Working with the Energy Saving Trust to decarbonise the HCC fleet. I loved Andrew's reference to commercial vehicles there. What a challenge for all of us. Decarbonising the school estate. We've made some big progress. Just putting in control measures in a number of schools has already reduced carbon across those schools by 7,000 tonnes a year, and that's increasing all the time. Development of the tree strategy. We're going to plant 1 million trees and 100 kilometres of hedges by 2030. Go tree planters. Investment in air quality monitoring software. A sustainable Hertfordshire crowdfunder platform for communities to tap into. And our over 37 pledges to plant trees via the Queen's Green Canopy. And a 70-acre Jubilee woodland to be planted in Hertfordshire. I think that's going to be at Panshanger. The Climate Change Partnership respects local district, borough and Herts County Council climate change plans and strategies and does not seek to duplicate efforts. I think that's vital. And at a regional level, the search is on for the added value, the shining examples of best practice, lobbying for funding and looking at the opportunities to buy into offsetting and green energy production. Again, looking for the collaborative strength. Early on, the partnership agreed to the top 4 issues: water, biodiversity, carbon reduction and transport. Post-agreement, these themes work commenced on producing detailed plans for each of them. And these 4 initial plans have been prepared and approved and are now being implemented by all partners. We've now added 2 new areas of focus: behaviour change and adaptation, because we have to take our residents with us. On this slide, a continuation of the wide range of the support to green growth for our rather traumatised high streets and for community wealth creation. And 2 very important developments: the setting up of the Hertfordshire Infrastructure Development Board, led by Councillor Linda Hazy, leader of East Herts. The board bringing developers and local government together to thrash out what good development looks like in Hertfordshire. Could this be the future for setting the high standards demanded by residents in our very special county? Watch this space. The shot above is the inaugural meeting there held at Brocket Hall. The heart is, as you can tell, we haven't decided yet whether it has wheels or whether it's a tram, whether it's a train, quite whether it's a bus. But this is a sign of our commitment to the future for transport, an east-west link, that Hemel to Harlow, linking potentially also Stevenage, possibly Luton and Watford, and then, of course, through to Stansted Airport. This east-west link, which is really stressed at the moment through congestion, we will need to take our residents with us, a real cultural change to want to get aboard the Hart. 600,000 people might end up living within 2 to 3 miles of what will be one of the biggest projects that Hertfordshire engages in. The consultation with our residents has already begun. And I hope over the next 10 years we pull that funding together. This might be as much as a £1.5 billion investment in Hertfordshire, sustainable travel, linking both business and residents. So bringing it all together, the priority is to look at future growth and how through sensitive, planned, high-quality development we can set the exemplary standards Hertfordshire demands. I've already had conversations this morning about how we might work with the development industry to bring that forward. I think within the next 18 months to 2 years, I would like us to not just be lobbying from government for that standard, but actually to be driving it from within Hertfordshire itself. We will lead by example in all our individual operations, enabling and inspiring others, taking our residents with us. But local government is only one dimension of a covenant that has business and commerce as the main drivers of sustainable growth, where our residents are demanding of a cleaner, greener, healthier future in communities that are welcoming and confident. Let's make sure Hertfordshire remains the sustainable county of opportunity. Many thanks.